Sam, thank you very much indeed for coming onto the NAPE YouTube site. And Sam represents, and I'll get this right, the Regional Educational Consultant for the Northeast. Sam, would you like to talk about your role for a minute?
Yes, so I'm the Regional Education Consultant for Northeast for Leaf Education. I'm a former primary school teacher, and my role is to engage schools and farms in farm education. So we look to expose children to where their food comes from, the environment, the work of farmers and agriculture, but we also support farmers to develop educational offerings as well. So my role's varied. I work in schools and with schools, but I also work with farmers as well. So a really interesting role to have.
Okay, now Sam, what does LEAF stand for?
So LEAF stands for Linking Environment and Farming, and LEAF is a farming organisation and charity which works with farmers on sustainable agriculture. And LEAF Education is the education part of that organisation. So linking environment and farming.
Excellent, and I can see the educational benefits that could bring to schools, making that link between, if you like, the farming community and the schools community in terms of education. I should think that's very valuable.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a huge sort of detachment for many young people between where their food comes from, how it's grown and what they're eating. So it's a really key part of our educational work is to let them see how it actually happens and where their food is coming from.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, and that's why I think, as you know, as a former primary school teacher, I could find that very useful, and I'm sure you've worked with schools to see how that could actually sit within their school's existing curriculum. Now, Sam, on LEAF's website, it says that its purpose is engaging, inspiring, and motivating young people, providing insights into food production, farming, and environment itself. Now, if I was a class teacher or a head teacher of a school, in a nutshell, how could LEAF manage to achieve those very very important aims?
So we have lots of really exciting projects which we run. One of our most popular is Farmer Time. LEAF manages that project, and Farmer Time is a way of linking farms to schools. We match schools with a farmer, and then they organise to have a once fortnightly video call from the farm directly into the classroom via Zoom.
Yeah.
And it allows the students to develop a relationship with that farmer and to see the processes that are occurring on the farm. So that's one really exciting project, and teachers can find all sorts of ways to link what's being discussed into the curriculum. We also manage a resource platform called Countryside Classroom, which is a great resource platform. It's free. Lots of partner organisations involved with countryside and food post resources onto there, so it's well worth looking at. It's one way to help teachers link to the curriculum. But I suppose my core work and the core work that we do is delivered by people like me, education consultants, and we support farmers to develop educational offerings, and we work with schools to put together bespoke visits. We take children out onto farms and help school staff organise that and then help to deliver those visits. But we also do in-school workshops and things. So I've yesterday just done a workshop on selective breeding, where I was helping a year 6 class make connections between their evolution topic and agriculture. So we do all sorts of stuff, and lots of it is bespoke. So it's a nice process to be able to work with school staff to put something really valuable together.
Yes, of course. And with farming, it's a sort of seasonal activity. What happens in the spring and the summer and the winter are completely different. And I suspect through educating children about farming practice and going to visit farms, which is terrific, that must be reflected in what they see and the curriculum delivery. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, every farm is incredibly different.
Yeah.
A dairy farm is going to be amazing. It's going to be totally different to an arable farm. Small holdings are very different to large farming organisations. And so, what the children see is always going to be different, and it's a real pleasure to put those visits together. I think what they all get from those visits, though, is that sense of connection with where their food is coming from and how it happens. Whether it's a tiny small holding or a huge farm with, loads of machinery, they get to see something which normally, to be honest, they don't see, that process that's going on behind the farm gate. And it's, always really valuable. And children always come away full of enthusiasm and engaged by that process. So it's great.
Yes, and of course, children that have been brought up in an urban environment, that's particularly valuable, and I can completely understand that. Small holdings is an interesting one because you've got quite a variety of different farming practices going on, whether it's to do with chickens or growing on the land, goats, etc. I mean, that must be really interesting.
It is. So those small holdings often have an opportunity to get sort of more hands-on with some of the animals and get closer and stuff. That's really exciting. I think many children are blown away then by the larger scale farms as well, because you can go to these large grain stores where you've got hundreds and hundreds of tons of wheat being stored, and you've got a huge machinery. There's definitely something on every farm that's going to sort of be a real eye-opener for those young people. So
I must admit, watching Jeremy Clarkson and he's recently had an award, is it from the NFU, for what he's done for the farming industry. I think he's opened the general public's eyes to those huge grain stores, etc.
Absolutely, and it's something that people even so we mentioned urban children from urban settings, and absolutely you're right. Those children often are very disconnected from where their food comes from and from the countryside. But even children who live in the countryside, they drive past fields, but lots of them rarely go, onto the farmyard or through the farm gate and see what is actually happening. And it's an alien world to many young people and to many teachers when they go onto those places. It's not something they're familiar with. So it's fascinating.
I mean, what a great motivator to go back in the classroom and, reflect on what they've seen or photographed or videoed or drawn about or written on question sheets they've taken with them, worksheets. That must be amazing. So am I right in thinking that the LEAF organisation is a membership organisation?
Yeah, so LEAF is a membership organisation in the sense that we are supported and can run through the kind donations of our sponsors and our farm and education members. We're not a membership organisation in the sense that schools don't need to be members to access our work. They can support our work by becoming members, and there are advantages to doing so. They get certain discounts and access to newsletters and lots of really interesting things like CPD. But we work with schools who aren't members. So we're not a membership organisation in a sort of traditional sense. We are supported by our very valued members to do our work.
Yes, so as far as schools and becoming members, if they want any information about becoming a member, getting discounts, they need to look at the website. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that has all the details on there.
Absolutely. All the advantages of becoming an education member are on the website, and the links to become members are on there.
I'll put the links down there below as we speak. So that's really useful. How much does it roughly, what sort of ballpark figure are we talking about for schools?
So farm and education members, I believe it starts at around £64 to become a member for the year, plus VAT for a year's membership. It depends on the size of the organisation joining. So all the information is on the link that you've provided below. But I'd encourage schools to get in touch, even if they don't want to become members, because we can absolutely work with them still.
Good. Oh, I'm glad. I'm delighted to hear that. Obviously, did I see on the website something about a farming LEAF mark as well?
Yes. So LEAF Education, we're the part of the organisation that work with schools. LEAF has many schemes that are linked directly. They work directly with farmers, and things like the LEAF mark is a sustainability mark.
Good.
Farms, the farms work towards gaining to show that they're working in a sustainable, environmentally friendly way to produce food. So that's the farming half of the organisation. So
that's really nice to know. Actually, I think that's great. Now, do you actually run workshops for? You've mentioned children going on visits and so forth, and opportunities to speak to children about farming practices and how food is grown and delivered. What about for teachers in terms of CPD and workshops for teachers?
Yes, so I'm sure a link will be provided as well, but we run regular workshops. Many of them over the last couple of years have been online, so we're offering online workshops and CPD events. I know, for instance, that we've just run a series of events online regarding careers education, so supporting careers teachers to deliver education related to agriculture. But I have planned for this future, from my expertise is primary teaching, so there will be primary linked CPD going up this year, all sorts of different things, and it all appears on the website for people to check out and sign up to if they would like to. So yeah, we do run teacher CPD.
And I'm delighted to hear that you're expanding, obviously, for primary school teachers as well. That's really good.
Yeah.
What other sorts of resources, sort of online downloadable resources? I mean, it mentions the TES online. What sort of tangible resources can you allow schools to have, whether they're members or not?
So all the resources we produce in terms of educational materials and resources are posted onto a platform called Countryside Classroom, which I'm sure we can provide a link to.
Yes,
that's a free education platform which Leaf manages, but there's lots of contributors, lots of people linked to food and farming who collaborate to bring together resources and to post them onto that platform. So all our resources from Leaf Education can be found on there, but lots of other resources as well. And there's some really, really great stuff for teachers to access and download from that platform.
What do these resources look like? Are they sort of worksheets or information sheets?
There's a huge range of different stuff. There's stuff from video resources. I know that I made during lockdown, certainly made quite a lot of video resources. Introducing for teachers to use in class. There are worksheets and things like that, but there's also activity suggestions for during a farm visit or workshop suggestions for in class. There's a huge range of different materials on that Countryside Classroom portal. Yeah.
Right. Well, that sounds really good. That's excellent. Did you want to add anything else before we close?
No, I think that I would just encourage all school teachers to really think about their curriculum and how it can link to farming and agriculture. There are so many links, and some of them aren't particularly obvious. I know, for instance, that many Year 4 teachers really struggle with delivering the soils objective in science, and actually you can bring it to life with agriculture and farming and giving your learning in class a real purpose and a focus. It's really helpful. There are so many links, and just
you're certainly singing Nape's song in terms of giving purpose and bringing the curriculum to life.
And that's the whole thing. And children really remember it when there's a reason for learning something, or when they have someone from the outside, a farmer or a consultant, or someone like myself from Leaf, explaining why they're learning, what they're learning about is important, why learning about soil or the environment is important, and linking it to agriculture is a really good way of doing that. So it's a pleasure to do.
That's amazing. Sam, what can I say? Thank you very, very much indeed for today. And I look forward to these developments on CPD and everything that Leaf is doing. And all I can say is very much thank you to Leaf for providing this service to primary schools. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.